Friday, everyone. The weekend is almost here. Friday is upon us. So let's kickstart this day off the right way. This nice little couplet, nice little AMRAP couplet. So what we're going to do today, we got ourselves an inchworm side plank for 3 to 5 reps, plank to down dog for 3 to 5 reps, forearm side plank to reach through for 15 seconds per side, 2 to 3 rounds. That's our first little kind of, I'm ready to go. From there, we're going to do a half Turkish Getup for 5 to 7 aside, bird dog for 6 to 10 alternating for 1 to 3 second holds per rep, and then a windmill of 6 to 10 alternating reps, 2 to 3 rounds. This is going to help work on some shoulder positions, some range of motion, and some really good rotation work. So take your time here. This is not meant to be done for time. Take your time, work for those stability pieces, and have some fun with this one. This is a nice little piece of work here, so play with it and enjoy. After you're done, now we're going to start getting into the pieces of the more kind of workout specific kind of movements. We have a standing lunge for 3 to 5 aside to kind of prime yourself up for the lunge, into a dumbbell pause dip for 3 to 5 reps at a 3-second hold in the bottom of the dip, dumbbell push press for 3 to 5, and then dumbbell overhead hold for 15 to 20 seconds. And then you'll repeat on the other side, or you'll just do it one time through if you're using 2 dumbbells. So keep that in mind. You'll repeat, do it on the opposite, or just one time with double. You'll hit that up for 3 rounds, just getting yourself fired up, getting anything else in there that you need to practice or warm up for the work set. If you want to add in some gentle cardio, skipping, ankle pops, stuff like that, please do so. All right, and then we'll take you into the work set. The work set today, pretty short, right? We got 8 minutes, so you got lots of time to practice that warm-up work, lots of time to get that stuff in. We're going to do 8-minute AMRAP, lunge for 16 alternating reps. That can be loaded in the front rack, in the goblet, in the farmer, whatever you want to do, or unloaded. All right, that can also be an option. Step-ups here are also an option, and I'll have a couple different variations on the workout description for you guys to sub in if you want to play around with that work set. 16 alternating reps. You'll then move into 8 push press. All right, and that will be 8 total count reps. So 4 on one side, 4 on the other side, if you're using a single, or 8 total reps going with the double dumbbell. It's up to you. And then you'll rock it again. Just keep rocking those 2 movements. It's going to be pretty fast, pretty furious. We want to try and keep moving as best we can. If you want to choose a movement without a dumbbell, obviously you'll do the load or the lunge unloaded, and you can take that down, giving yourself a little chance to rest from the dumbbell or external loading. So it's going to be a nice, fast, furious kind of work set. You're just going to get down to it, have some fun, and then you can rest. And you're done for the day. Unless you want to take down this little optional piece down here. We have a 2 to 3 rounder, tuck hollow with extension for 20 seconds just to work on some core work and open up the hamstrings a little bit after all those lunges. Then we have a bridge for 10 and a crab extension for 10 with a 5 to 10 second hold on our last rep. So that is an optional piece. You can use it to help open up the chest, the hamstrings, the hips, and move into your cool down from there, or you can just do the 8-minute AMRAP and move right into your cool down from there. Let's get you warmed up, ready to go, and we'll ring in the weekend the right way. All right, let's get those feet under the hips. We'll take the arms big and tall up overhead. We're going to stretch it over to one side, and then we're going to come back over, stretch it to the other side. We'll come back up the center, we're going to scratch our back and reach through the elbow. Come back up, big stretch. We're going to scratch our back and then reach through the elbow. Oh, come back up, big stretch. We're going to bring those hands to the hips. We'll just take those hips around, nice and steady. Nothing too aggressive here, just really working full range. We'll go the other way, really nice and gentle. Working on that full circle. Back to center, we'll bring our feet together, gentle little circles around the knees, but again, we're working on our ankles here as well, so we want to try and keep those feet nice and flat. Other way, good. We'll come back to center, we're going to take those arms up overhead, big stretch and reach, big stretch and reach, and come back down, forward fold, touching those toes, walk up those shins, nice flat back. We'll come down, frame a foot, step back into your lizard, nice and square in those hips. Inside hand's gonna reach up. We'll come back down with that hand. Outside hand's gonna reach up. Big stretch. Come back down. Inside hand, big stretch. Come back down. outside hand, big stretch. Back down one more time, inside hand, big stretch. Strong legs here, outside hand, big stretch. And then we'll come back down, stepping back into our down dog. Just reaching up those hips, you're gonna walk a heel, walk the other heel, sending those shoulders. Come back into the plank, we'll step the other foot up. Nice and square in those hips, we'll take the inside hand up. Then we'll come back down. Outside hand, big twist. Come back down. Inside hand, big stretch. Come back down. Outside hand, big stretch. Okay, come back down. Inside hand up. And come back down one more time. Outside hand up. Good. Come back down. We're going to step back into our down dog again. And just press a heel. Press a heel. Come back to center into our plank. Pulling those ribs and hips in, pressing those shoulders. We'll tiptoe those feet up. We're going to roll ourselves all the way up. Big stretch. Clasp those fingers, big reaching over. Reaching over. Oh, come back down with those hands. Let's get you guys fired up. If you'd like to continue with some gentle warm-up stuff, please do so. I'm going to move you into that next phase of warm-up. That's going to kickstart off with our Inchworm Side Plank. So pause the video if you want to take down some gentle stuff, please do so. Come along with me if you're ready to continue on. I'm going to turn to the side so you guys can see this profile. So we're going to walk ourselves down the thighs. We're going to walk our hands out. Again, establishing that good plank. So pulling those ribs and pressing those shoulders up. Once we get that good plank comfortable, we're going to open up into that side plank. Reaching, coming back into our plank, setting the shoulders. Rolling to the other side, reaching, focusing on that pressure down through that arm, and then coming back into our plank, and walking our hands back in. Rolling ourselves up, big stretch, come back down, and I'm going to show you another option if that side plank is a little hard for balance, or you can't quite stabilize through that single arm just yet, and that's totally fine. So we'll take those arms up for an extra little arm stretch, take it all the way to the floor. We're going to walk our hands out into our plank. We're going to get ourselves set tight. I'm going to lower the knee, pressing through that arm so I'm stable. Turn the foot in the back, and then slowly open to wherever I feel comfortable. And then I'll come back into our plank, lower my knee, turn the toe, set the shoulder, and open. So I give myself that opportunity to make sure that every piece of that plank is balanced and ready to go. So I really want to take the time there to make sure my arm is engaged, I'm stable, I'm strong, and then open up to the side nice and slow. If you can't open up fully, just open up to where you feel control and then come back down. I'm only looking for a couple seconds of control in that side plank. Don't worry about overkilling it for a long amount of time. If you'd like to do a long time, be my guest, but just a little control. From there, we're going to move into our full plank, and we're going to work our plank to down dog just to open up those shoulders and last a little bit after that individualized movement set. So I'm going to get myself into that plank. Again, shoulders over top of my hands, pressing through the shoulders, pulling my ribs and hips in. I'm going to pull my hips back and up into that nice down dog position. I'm also then going to come back into my plank. So finding that pull through the rib and hip, pressing through those shoulders, and then once I've established that, pull back into that down dog. If I'd like to add in a heel press, I can do that here as well. Come back into that plank, find that plank with control, and then continue on into that next down dog. So you don't have to hold either position there for a very long time either. Just enough time to show control, reset the shoulders, reset the core, to get yourself ready for that next movement and that next dynamic kind of transition. So we got 3 to 5 reps of that down dog, or plank to down dog. Then we're going to move into our forearm side plank reach through. We did this a couple days ago. So we're going to get ourselves set up. I'm in my tabletop. I bring my arms down. I'm going to turn one arm perpendicular so it points at that other arm. I'm then going to come out to my side. So my hip is on the floor if I'd like. And I'm going to straighten out those legs nice and stacked. Shoulder is over top of the elbow. I'm pressing actively in there. And then I'm going to squeeze into my glutes, side plank, bring my hand up, and then I'm gonna bring the arm through. Nice and slow, reaching as far as I feel comfortable, and then opening up to that plank. I can also do this with a knee assist. So I bend my knees at the 90, I squeeze my glutes, I open up my hips, and I lift my hips up, take the arm, and then again, I get that little bit of rotation, and then I come back up. I'm gonna have a little bit less rotation on the hip and the knee in that variation, just because I don't have as much rotation through the trunk, and that's okay. You're still gonna get that nice rotation that we're after to build the strength in that side body, to start building into that full plank. The biggest thing is establishing that good plank, and if you're like, Dave, slow down. That rotation's super tough. It is super tough, but I always fall over, regardless of going from my knees or my toes, all right? Work on establishing the balance for 15 seconds per side in the forearm side plank first, and then make sure that that's solid first, and then add in that reach through. So a couple building blocks there if you like, and you can kind of experiment with that as well. Quick little recap. Inchworm side plank for 3 to 5 reps. Plank to down dog for 3 to 5. Forearm side plank reach through, 15 seconds per side. 2 to 3 rounds. Tackle that down. Doesn't take very long, but again, take your time. All right, don't worry about rushing through these because the workout's pretty short. So you have lots of time to warm things up and make sure things are really working well. Pause the video and then come join me for our next phase, which I'm gonna go grab my handy dandy pad here for my knee because I wanna take advantage of this movement. So I have a little ab mat down. I'm gonna start off with my half Turkish Getup. So my knee is on my mat. I'm nice and stacked under my hip and under my shoulder. My lead knee is over top of my heel and I'm nice and square through the hip. I'm gonna squeeze my glutes so I'm stable through the lower body. Whatever leg is forward is the arm that's going to be up holding the dumbbell or not. You can do this unloaded and it's a perfectly fine exercise. So I'm actively pressing up into that arm. My armpit is pointing straight ahead and I'm going to take my body down to the side. My armpit stays pointing straight ahead. And that is one of the hardest pieces of this exercise, is keeping that arm stable and still as I shift my weight to that other hand. So we want to make sure that we're not rotating and dumping into the shoulders. So really strong focus here. If you'd like to load this, you can. That's totally fine. And it doesn't have to be heavy. So if the dumbbell you have at home is super heavy and you're still wanting to load this, you can grab a can of soup, grab a bottle of water, whatever you want. But we want to focus on that armpit staying forward in that nice position as we come back up into that kneeling position. So we hit that up, we got 5 to 7 per side. I like to get a little pause on either end of the movement. It just shows control, shows that engagement, and allows us to own the movement. Once we're done both sides of that, we're gonna move into our bird dog. So I'm gonna turn to the side so you guys can see this. My hands are underneath my shoulders, my knees are underneath my hips. I'm going to pull my ribs in so I'm nice and tight through the core, pressing my shoulders up to the ceiling. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to extend my right leg straight back, my left arm straight forward. I'm going to get that nice flat position, actively reaching forward and actively pressing that heel back. And then I'm going to come back down to my table and I'm going to do it again. Extending, keeping the ribs in, keeping the hips square to the front, to the floor, and then come back down. I'm going to hold anywhere from 1 to 3 seconds per rep. This is very important we try and keep those hips square and level. Some people ask me, what should my foot be doing? Personally, toe down, so I'll get into that position here. So toe down towards the floor. It's not necessary, you can point it, but it does help give us a reference to keep that hip pointing down towards the ground. So it gives us a reference point. If our toe is up to the side, it's a pretty good indicator that my hip is opening to the side as well. So you can play around with those different cues, set yourself up with a little picture, a camera, so you can kind of see yourself in that long body position if you'd like. We want to imagine if I had a PVC pipe down your spine, it would be flat and it wouldn't be rolling off. We have 6 to 10 reps alternating back and forth with that, and then we get to stand up And we get to go into our sumo stance. And this is another exercise you can load if you like. All right, it's gonna be pretty light though. If you don't want to, tremendous benefit from this as well. It's our standing windmill. So I'm gonna take my arm up to the ceiling. My armpit is facing forward, just like in our half Turkish getup. I'm going to pull my hips back, rotate at my low rib, keeping my armpit pointing towards that front position and letting my torso rotate. And my body rotates with my torso, or my shoulder rotates with my torso. So I'm not rotating in, my arm stays still and upright, but my body rotates and I keep it stable and strong. And then I come back up. All right, so I get that kind of half and half good morning / rotation through the low rib. And you're gonna alternate back and forth. Don't worry about touching the floor all the way, or even touching the floor. If you're doing this exercise and you take it back and down and you're like, and that's where I can control it, come back up. So we want to work on that good position from a standing soft knee position. So take your time with those, give yourself a little quiet high five, and take it down on the other side, anywhere from 6 to 10 reps. And if you'd like to load that slowly and lightly, you can. Quick recap, we have our half Turkish getup for 5 to 7 per side, bird dog for 6 to 10, alternating reps at a 1 to 3 second hold, windmill for 6 to 10, alternating, no hold, but just take it slow, 2 to 3 rounds, and then move on to that last phase, which is gonna do some more movement specific to the workout. So pause the video, take down that mid piece. It's a great work for shoulder stability, core work, and rotation. So take your time there, you guys. You don't have to rush that piece. Our last little piece of warm-up is going to consist of our standing lunge and some dumbbell push press work. So we're going to get myself set up in my squat stance. I'm going to step forward and step back, keeping my hips square, and I have about a 50-50 balance between my feet. My knees are soft, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to squeeze my glutes. I'm going to stay as upright as I can, and I am going to lower down to the floor, keeping that knee stacked over top of the heel, and that back knee stacked underneath of my hip and my shoulder. So I'm trying to stay as upright as I can. So again, I'll switch my feet so you guys can see a little different. I have that nice 50-50 weight. I squeeze my glutes to help stabilize the knee. My knee stays over top of my heel. I take it as deep as I can maintain position, and I stand tall through that. I like to give us a nice little tempo for that, especially early on in the warm-up. It's a nice way to start warming up the legs with a nice 3 second down, maybe 3 second up. And as you get closer to that workout, if you'd like to load that at the Goblet, be my guest. You're more than welcome to. You don't have to, but if you'd like to, you can. 3 to 5 per side, taking it as deep as you can. If you'd like to use a stabilizing tool like a stick countertop for balance, please do so, but just make sure we're keeping everything square and engaged. After that, we grab our dumbbell. We're going to work on some skill work with that dumbbell push press. So I'm going to clean the dumbbell up to my shoulder. So the dumbbell comes up to my shoulder. I'm resting the back of the dumbbell on my shoulder. My elbow is up slightly. I'm pressing into the dumbbell to keep that engagement through my midsection and keep my body upright. My feet are under my hips or just outside with a slight turnout of my toes. When I dip, in that pause dip, I'm going to squeeze my glutes. I'm going to dip, keeping my feet flat, and my knees are going to track my toes just a little bit, and then I'm going to stand. So from the side, my shoulders and my hips are stacked right on top of each other, making sure I'm nice and vertical, and stand. So I'm going to hold this for 3 to 5 seconds, for 3 to 5 reps. Once I'm done those pause dips, I'm going to investigate that dip again, but I'm going to use it to press the dumbbell overhead. So I squeeze my glutes, I dip, no pause, and press that dumbbell overhead into that good overhead position. My arm is pressing to the ceiling, my ear is being visible from the side, or my arm is even with my ear, depending on your range of the shoulder. I'll come back down, I'll set, and I'll dip, bang, using those legs and hips to throw that dumbbell overhead, coming back down. I'm trying to keep my feet flat through the entire dip, and drive. So once I get to that hip and knee extension, I may find that my hips bring my heels off the floor, and that's okay. After my last rep, I'm going to dip, press, I'm going to hold for 15 to 20 seconds overhead. Pressing into the dumbbell, keeping my ribs in, working on stabilizing the shoulder, and working on that overhead stability. So I'm gonna hold that last rep for 15 to 20 seconds, and then I'll repeat on the other side. Take your time to kind of prime that up, you guys. If you have multiple dumbbells, start lighter, build into your working weight. If you're like, I only got one, all right? Take your time, build in there, hit it a few times, and make sure you're good to go. There's also nothing wrong with working on that pause dip without any loading, just to prime up that dip position to kind of warm things up before you get going. It's gonna be great for your ankles, knees, and hips, and get you ready. Repeat that on the opposite side, hit that standing lunge again, and then we'll get ready for the workout. So in terms of that little recap, we have a standing lunge, 3 to 5 per side, dumbbell pause dip for 3 to 5 at a 3 to 5 second hold, dumbbell push press for 3 to 5 reps, and a dumbbell overhead hold for 15 to 20 seconds, and then repeat on the opposite side. If you're using 2 dumbbells, just take it down through once, and then repeat 3 times. Pause that video, get it ready. We're gonna talk about the workout coming up. So what we have for your work set is an 8-minute AMRAP, so it's gonna be pretty fast. So we gotta be like 3, 2, 1, I'm on and I'm ready. So make sure you're warm, you're ready to go. We're gonna do 16 alternating lunges. The lunge can be goblet, it can be front rack, it can be farmers, it can be whatever you'd like to do. My suggestion, if you're gonna load it in the front rack or the farmer's position, is do 8 reps, switch hands, 8 reps. So you get both sides going and take it from there. Or do 1 full round on one side, 1 full round the next side, just alternate each round. Up to you, okay? But with the lunge, it's the same thing regardless. We are gonna either do a forward, working on our good position, nice and easy, not cranking our knee off the ground, so controlling the depth, or back, keeping our body upright, keeping everything stable and strong, and working on those key points we practice in our standing lunge drill in a dynamic manner. So the big thing for the lunge, make sure, loaded or unloaded, make sure you're squeezing those glutes, getting them fired up before you take that step, because it's gonna help stabilize your knee and help keep everything in your midsection a little tighter. After that, we have our dumbbell push press for 8 reps. We covered that pretty heavily in our warm-up, so if you need any points of performance reviews, scroll back, have a gander, take that on, and then rock it in your work set. Just remember, if you're using a single dumbbell, it's a total count of 8 reps, so it's gonna be 4 and 4, or 8 with 2, continue on and rock it. All right, so have fun with this one, you guys. It's very straightforward, lunge press for 8 minutes. So some of you might be hitting some pretty high rounds. If you need to rest, put things down, go for it. Take it down, rest, and do what you need to do for this work set. Now, pause the video, take down that workout. I'm gonna go through the optional movements in the work set so we can get you guys ready for the workout, or get you guys ready for your cool down. Now, our optional piece at the end is some good old-fashioned core work. We're gonna on our backs. So we're gonna work on our tuck hollow with extension. So I'm going to pull my knees and my shoulders together by pulling my ribs and hips together. So I'm pulling into that hollow. My hands are reaching towards my toes, my shoulders are reaching towards my knees, and my knees towards my shoulders. Now I'm going to maintain this compression as I extend my legs up towards my head while still maintaining that close proximity of knee to shoulder. And the key thing here is my hamstrings are going to play a big part in that. So if you have tight hamstrings, you may find that your knees venture away. So we want to really try and keep that compression as best we can, but don't be surprised if it kind of pulls away. But keep fighting for it, because that's half the battle right there. After our tuck hollow with extension, we're going to bring our feet down, and we're going to work on our bridge. So our palms will come down to the floor, setting, and then we're going to squeeze, lift, opening up the hips, but keeping the ribs in, lower down, and just get a nice smooth rhythm here with that bridge. Your last rep, you're going to press and lift, and then you're going to hold, continuing to squeeze your glutes and maintain that engagement. Our last exercise, we come up to a seated position, same kind of foot position for our bridge. My hands are going to go behind my shoulders, and my fingers are going to be pointing out to the side. And I'm sitting nice and tall through my back. I'm going to squeeze my glutes, lifting my hips as high as I can into that neutral position, and then lower down. just trying to lift as high as my shoulders and hips will allow. My knees come over top of my heels, and my shoulders stay over top of my hands. So depending on where we're tight, we may find that we have some limitations there because of our shoulder or our hips. That's okay. Just squeeze, lifting into that engagement to where you can reach in that edge to start opening up those hips and opening up those shoulders. You may even feel it in your forearms, your biceps, your triceps. It's a really nice exercise to help stretch things out, but just take it to where you feel comfortable and you feel that first sensation. And I guarantee you, by the end of the 10 reps, you'll probably be getting higher than when you did that first round. I hope you guys enjoy this nice little couplet and this skill work and warm-up stuff. It's a great day to work on shoulder stability and some rotation core work, building into that work set. So work for quality, you guys. Have fun and enjoy this one. Let me know how it goes and let me know what you chose to do for your lunge. There'll be some nice options in the bottom in the workout description. Take a peek at that, and if you have any questions, never hesitate. Shoot them our way. Have a great day, you guys. We'll see you tomorrow for one last workout of the week. It's going to be a great time. All right? Let's do it up.